I'm addressing you this evening.
All your years of paying tax, you helped us overcome our darkest hour. You, along with every other loyal taxpayer, helped build this nation. Thank you for every life you saved and for every risk you braved, for giving our future generation a healthy start. When you saw many of our vulnerable communities, you provided for them. When you saw our healthcare workers on the front lines battling COVID, you rose to the occasion and gave them the tools to save lives. Without your tax compliance, we wouldn't be able to fight a good fight. Thank you for contributing to the important services our vulnerable communities rely on every day. To all taxpayers and traders, continue to pay your tax because it matters to millions of South Africans who depend on it. Your tax matters.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on the Authorized Economic Operator Program at SARS. My name is Amina Kamali from the Accreditation and Licensing Division, which is responsible for spearheading this groundbreaking initiative. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you and thank you for joining us today. As you know, we are live, and a recording of this program will be available on YouTube to view at your leisure. Today's program will provide you with insights and an overview of the AEO, with a key focus on how the program aims to facilitate trade and enhance compliance within the SMME arena. You will also be given the opportunity to participate in today's session via the chat group. Please feel free to submit your comments, questions during the session. We have a panel of experts that are on hand to answer your questions, either on the chat group or later on in the question and answer session. You may also submit your questions via email to questions@sars.gov.za. Please note that this inbox will close at the end of this webinar, and further questions may be directed to Authorized Economic Operator, one word, @sars.gov.za. Any unanswered questions will be addressed on the frequently asked questions page on the SARS website. Please note that you are advised to protect yourself and not disclose any personal information like tax numbers or ID numbers on the chat platform. You will also be invited to participate in a short survey at the end of the session. At SARS, we value you and we pride ourselves in continuous improvement. We would like to encourage you to give us your input on how we can improve our service to you. Therefore, your participation is highly encouraged. So with no further ado, I would like to introduce you to the first speaker, our keynote speaker, Mrs. Vavyar. Mrs. Vavyar is the head of the Accreditation and Licensing Division and has enjoyed a career in a very vast career at SARS. She has many years of experience. It spans across 30 years. She's an accomplished leader, experienced in large business operations in more than 30 localities. She's extremely passionate about trade facilitation and building a tax and customs system that is based on voluntary compliance. Mrs. Vavyar is passionate about maintaining positive relations with stakeholders, working with them to build the tax ecosystem. She is committed to excellence and making a difference. She also has a master's degree from the University of Canberra, Australia. And with that, it's over to you, Mrs. Vavyar.
Thank you, Program Director. Hello, everybody. It's a great pleasure to participate in this SMME Traders, Travelers, Authorized Economic Operator webinar and to welcome you to this event. As we emerge from the global pandemic, customs is uniquely positioned to contribute to bolstering recovery, renewal, and resilience. This is even more relevant in the South African context. And for SMMEs post the pandemic, as studies show that the number of SMMEs has declined by 11% in Q3 of 2020. And that out of all of the jobs lost in the economy, 90% of those belong to the SMME sector. The Authorized Economic Operator Program, or AEO program, is one of the tools advocated by the World Customs Organization to bolster the Herculean task of reconstruction. So you may be asking yourself, rightfully so, what is an AEO? AEO has become a flagship customs to business partnership program for the World Customs Organization members, as it offers an opportunity for customs to share its security responsibilities with the private sector, and at the same time rewards them with a number of trade facilitation benefits. Partnership programs with trade allow customs to achieve more with less effort, with the goal of ensuring sustainable and long-term compliance through incentives that are offered. Or in non-technical language, the AEO program is an internationally endorsed risk management approach that seeks to collaborate with trade supply chain entities who maintain high quality internal operational processes and have an appropriate record of compliance, who will receive certain benefits to support their businesses. The good news is that all supply chain entities may volunteer to be part of the program. The SMME community represents a vital part of these chains, and in some cases, the vast majority of supply chain may be composed of SMME economic operators. In linking the AEO program to the SARS strategy, we are reminded that border management requires a fine balance of trade facilitation, collection of the correct duties, and at the same time, improving compliance. SARS's 8th strategic objective acknowledges that SARS cannot do this alone, and that we need to work with and through stakeholders to achieve our intent. The AEO program is an important intermediary to achieve this and will ensure achievement of this fine balance at the lowest possible cost, without any compromise to revenue compliance risks that the passage of goods and services across our borders represent. The program supports the SARS compliance philosophy and compliance model, and SARS's strategic intent to work towards a system of voluntary compliance. This does require of SARS to place more reliance on taxpayers who choose to be compliant. And the AEO program does just this. It provides an international system for identifying businesses that offer a high degree of security guarantees in respect of their role in the supply chain. And the quid pro quo is a level of accreditation, integrity, and trust mutually built between the parties. And perhaps more importantly for many of you, tangible benefits in the form of expedited processing and other measures. In the experience of the 144 AEOs in South Africa, the most compelling benefits are the fact that they receive less customs interventions and their ability to be able to complete their controls beyond the border and not at the coalface. However, as our program matures, complemented by more and more mutual recognition arrangements, I believe that the reciprocal recognition of the accreditation status and the benefits attached to that will be even more compelling. The private sector, and this includes SMMEs, participation in the AEO program is a truly recognition that a dynamic partnership between SARS and stakeholders is essential to drive innovation and economic growth and ensure that the SARS AEO program responds more effectively to our ever-changing environment. The WCO has recognized that the position of SMMEs in the AEO is a special case. particularly as the perceived benefits of the program and the cost impact of the security investments are at the core of considerations regarding the potential for success of an AEO program. Later on today's program, the AEO team will highlight what SARS is doing to develop an SMME AEO program and give you an indication of how you can become involved in collaborating in the program design and even the pilots that will ensue. So, what does the next generation AEO look like for us? At SARS, we aim to ensure that we streamline processes at and beyond the border, or in other words, develop what people refer to as trusted trade lanes. We aim to reduce the number of agencies intervening in the cargo flows through either bilateral agreements or the development of interagency AEO programs. We aim to ensure that we achieve regional recognition and cross-accreditation in the South African Customs Union, so within SACU. And we aim to explore how disruptive technologies can improve the program. In closing, let me conclude, ladies and gentlemen, by thanking all of the panelists for the excellent insights they will share, and the organizers for what I know will be a professional and successful event. However, more importantly, I thank each one of you for attending and extend a special thank you in anticipation of the robust dialogue today's event will elicit. As many of you know, the accreditation team and I are extremely passionate about the AEO program for various reasons, and perhaps more particularly given its positive impact on compliance and its potential to enhance economic growth. And it is therefore our honor and our privilege to share our passion with you today. Thank you very much. Back to you, Program Director.
Thank you, Mrs. Vavyar, for those insights into trade facilitation and how the AEO can assist in building and boosting business as well as the economy. It is clear that this shift is here to stay and definitely sets the tone for future business models. Our next speaker is Mrs. Penny Bologho, who is the Executive Manager in the AEO business area. Mrs. Bologho began her career as a customs inspector at the Durban International Airport and has acquired extensive experience over the years. She has a master's in business leadership, a master's in international customs law and administration, and a Bachelor of Arts in social science from the University of Zululand. She has represented SARS at various international forums on trade facilitation with the WCO, SADC, IORA, AfriTac, and has participated in global AEO forums in Mexico, Uganda, and Brazil. In 2021, Mrs. Bologho served as the chair of the SACU AEO working group. In addition, she successfully implemented the AEO compliance program at SARS in May 2017. Mrs. Bologho will now be taking us through the presentation on the AEO, and I would like to remind you to please make use of the chat group or the email address questions@sars.gov.za to post any questions that you may have. Thank you, and over to you, Mrs. Bologho.
Thank you very much, Program Director, and thanks again for the beautiful opening that was said by the head of the Accreditation and Licensing Division. My name is Penny Bologho, as mentioned by the Program Director, and thanks again for such a beautiful introduction. Today, we are here to share with you the program that has been, it's a global program that has been already developed in SARS, but we're focusing specifically on SMME tonight. And thanks again for joining us and showing interest into this program. And I promise you, you will not regret in that. So ladies and gentlemen, the Authorized Economic Operator is not a South African program, but a global program. It's a global program that was developed by the World Customs Organization. And this was stemming from the events of 9/11, where it was seen to be very important to ensure that the safety and security of the goods moving from country to country. It was thereafter then introduced as a deterrent in 2005 for international terrorism. Then in 2007, it was then designed to be a flagship of the Customs to Business Partnership. You will know that Customs to Business is one of the pillars of the safe framework of the WCO. So this program is specifically stemming from that. So SARS has then complied with the requirements of the WCO, and they decided to also join in ensuring that they implement this program. So this program was then piloted in 2009 when SARS took a decision that we will do this program, but only focusing on AEO compliance. AEO compliance was only inclusive of exporters and importers only. And this was a decision that was taken to ensure that we do not do a big bang approach. So the approach of AEOC, it's what was previously known as preferred trader. For those who've been around longer, they'll know what I'm talking about. Fortunately, we no longer talk that language anymore, but we're talking AEOC. And recently, we've also launched an AEOS, which is safety and security. So in the whole, then the AEO is about compliance, safety, and security. So you need to be compliant to be able to join into this program. So I hope that all of you that are online today and those that may be looking at the YouTube in the near future will also ensure that they are compliant, because compliance is the core of this program. So what is AEO? You've heard on the opening address, the explanation and the details in terms of what this AEO program is about. And this is one of the tools that is used globally to ensure that there's improvement on different economies that were also impacted by COVID-19. So this is an international movement of goods and whatever function that has been approved on behalf of the National Customs Administrations, which is not only used in South Africa, but globally. And you will hear also how then do we collaborate? How do we interlink with what is done by other countries on this program? So the AEO compliance has indicated that we implemented it in May 2017 with only 28 traders. I'm very excited to say to you today, we are currently sitting with 144 accredited traders. That's how exciting and delightful the program is. This would not have happened if there were no exciting benefits that are offered in this program. So the benefits, I'll share them as well with you as I go through the day. Then the AEO safety and security was also launched in 2019 in November. When we launched the pilot in 2019 in November, the intent was that we will implement in 2020. Unfortunately, COVID-19 then came upon us, and hence the delay. But I'm also very excited to say that we've since then finalized the pilot. We've since legislated the program as AEOS. We've legislated the criteria and the benefits that are offered to those that qualifies or that meets the requirements of AEOS. So that has then, the legislation was published in July 2021. So we are now then looking forward to more traders that are interested in this program. Who then forms part of the AEOS and how is it different from the AEOC? The AEOC, as I previously indicated, that the AEOC was only for importers and exporters. Then the AEOS includes the whole value chain. So the key here is to ensure that when you think you are compliant in your organization, you must also ensure that the people that you do business with or the companies that you do business with are also as compliant. So AEOS look at the compliance of your value chain. So ladies and gentlemen, there are international drivers that this program is based on. And we thought that tonight, let us share with you what are these drivers that are making this AEO program so popular, and not only in South Africa, again, globally. So there are very strong incentives that are offered by this program. I will share those incentives later with you, and those are the benefits from different programs that we offer. And we've got different segments as well within the program, hence the benefits are linked to whichever segment that you may have been approved for. We also have taken modern approach on border management. You probably would have participated also on the RLA webinar that took place in October 2021. And in that, we shared with you the modernization strategies that we have and how are we intending to ensure that we simplify the process of registering for AEO program. And so that then is interlinked with what RLA is bringing on board. So please be on the lookout. There's beautiful and exciting things that are happening in that particular space. So post-COVID requirements for trade led to economic growth. And as part of initiatives towards economic growth for our respective countries and different nationalities, AEO became a tool that could assist those countries in improving their economic growth. And how is that happening? That happens because then we ensure that the trade facilitation of your goods is smoothly facilitated. The audits, you will see on the benefits that in terms of the documents that you submit to SARS for declaration, we do not then delay you by saying, let's have a look at your documents and ensure that they are accurate and correct before we release your goods. We do checks or pre-checks prior to you bringing those goods into the country. So we know that we're dealing with a trusted trader. We know that you are a compliant trader. We can go back and audit your company at a later stage. So then your goods do not get delayed. We then ensure that you smoothly facilitate it. And some of the activities will be the prioritization of the SARS activities that you may be involved with. We're also providing constructive partnership with trade. As we're developing and building these programs, we in consultation continuously and regularly with trade, because we built this program not for you, but with you. This is in line with strategic objective number 8 of SARS, which says you need to work with and we need to work with and through stakeholders to improve the tax ecosystem. So we continuously invite your support, we invite your inputs, and we often also send surveys throughout the country to say, please tell us, how can we help you? How can we improve? How can we make it different? And with that being said, we take those inputs very seriously because they form part of how then do we move forward in this program. We also provide flexible solutions for different clients, and which is why we're here today. And I'm saying this because SMMEs, there've been an outcry. On those surveys, there've been an outcry from SMMEs saying, but the criteria that is there, it's a bit stringent for SMMEs. The benefits that SMMEs requires are different from those that are required by large traders. The systems that large traders may have, the sophisticated systems, SMMEs don't always have such. So can SARS consider and see how can they accommodate SMMEs, which is why then today we are here to share those with you. So the intervention also by exceptions, that comes with benefits that you get from this program, because the interventions that we do as SARS, they're not as often as you know us to be. And also even the audits, the frequency of audits that you undergo if you are in this program is not as frequent as you used to get. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be audited. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be stopped, but there is a drastic reduction on the number of stops that you get if you are in this program. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 3 segments of this program. As I've indicated that today, the focus is on the AEO SMME, which is what we are building. This program is literally under construction. We're inviting all of you to participate, give us input, provide us with comments. We are even working with other government agencies, particularly the structures that are there out from the government who are dealing with SMMEs, the Department of Small and Medium Enterprises, CEDA, and so forth. So they're working with us on developing and build this program. So you mustn't be left behind then in ensuring that you also influence how this program is going to unfold as we progress. The AEO compliance, as I've indicated, we've got that in place already. We already have about 144 accredited traders on AEO compliance. It is such a resounding success. Sitting with you today, there's still a lot of applications that are coming through for companies that are interested in joining the program, because this program is also having financial savings that people are experiencing, that are sharing with us on excitement to say, since I've joined this program, I have saved cost because of the benefits that I receive. Then, as I've indicated, that in July 2021, we then legislated the AEO Safety and Security. So this program was as legislated as it was. It included the benefits, it included the criteria that one needs to meet. And you will see as we progress in this session, the difference between these programs on the benefits and what we are proposing for AEO SMME going forward. Ladies and gentlemen, as I've indicated earlier, that the core of this program is compliance. So this is in line with the SARS compliance philosophy, which the SARS compliance program suggests that we need to make it easy for those who are compliant and make it very difficult for those who do not want to comply. I'm glad to say that I'm on the side where my job is to make your life easy, because I believe that you are compliant. SARS also have done an assessment, and they've checked that actually there are traders who are willing to do the right thing, who are willing to comply, but maybe don't know how. And then the ones that knows that they have been complying, we're giving them the recognition, hence we're providing the benefits. Those who are willing to comply but struggling to comply because they don't know how, we are availing ourselves to assist you with that. And how do we do that in the AEO program? When you submit an application, we also do an audit for your company. The findings on that audit, we look at them and we create a compliance improvement plan together with you on the areas of development that we may have identified. So we literally hold your hand until you are fully compliant. Then you can proceed with your application. We do not reject any application that came through as long as all the information that is required is provided. And if you need support when it comes to a certain training and development that you require in a specific element in SARS, we also source that for you to assist, because what our ultimate goal is to ensure that you are compliant. And there are those then that don't want to comply. And obviously, those are the ones that are avoiding the taxes that are due. And they will be dealt with also by the relevant structures in SARS. So it is important that you comply, because you also do not find yourself on that side of the graph. So our job is to then make it easy for you to comply in the AEO program. So don't shy away. If you know that you're not sure or you are uncertain whether you are compliant or not, raise your hand. We will come in and conduct an audit. Thereafter, do a compliance improvement plan if there is a need, because you may find that you are actually compliant. It's just that you were not so certain. And also, we're doing this webinar today because we need to provide transparency about how we approach our work. How then, and we also guide you and share with you, how do we go about providing the input and helping us build this AEO for SMME today, which I have shared with you, which I've indicated that it is currently under construction. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is important also to ensure that you know how to communicate with SARS and how do you go about doing that. And also be clear with the consequences that you may come across if that is not done. And it is every SARS employee's business to ensure that we provide clarity and certainty for taxpayers and traders to ensure that they meet their obligations. And this is linked to our first strategic objective of SARS. So, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to share with you the criteria that we have in place for AEO-C. In terms of the legislation, if you look through the legislation, you may not necessarily see AEO compliance, but you will see AEO level 1. So level 1 is the AEO compliance. Level 2 is AEO safety and security. So let me take you through the criteria that one needs to meet to qualify to join the program on level 1. You need to have appropriate record of compliance, as I've explained to you in detail. And also, it is key that you should have been in business at least for 3 years. And you must be also you have your computer logistical systems in place, because in SARS, we are modernized and we're working with automated systems. So you should be automated as well. You should have these computer systems in place. And you must also have the effective internal accounting, which are in line with the general accepted accounting principles. Colleagues, we also asking you to ensure that amongst your employees, at least there are 2 employees who have sufficient knowledge of customs. This we get it assessed prior to the application being entertained and taken through to the governance structures. So why 2 employees? We're saying 2 as a minimum. You can have as many as you would like them to be. However, we are requesting that if you could have 2 for now, then we know at least there's people within your company that understand our business. So then that will help you to ensure that you are compliant as you move forward with this. This sufficient knowledge test that we do, we used to do it physically in our offices prior to COVID-19. And thanks to COVID-19, then we became smarter. And now it is done virtually. And it's done electronically. It's a various number of questions that are randomly asked to a specific person that logs in and wanting to do the test. The minimum pass rate for that is a 70%. So you have to achieve 70% to meet the requirements. Should a person not meet that 70% in your company, then you are free to appoint someone else within your organization to do the assessment. But your application will be entertained if you have 2 that have made it to the assessment test. You also have to have sufficient financial resources. Why sufficient financial resources? This is because we allow your goods to go through without detailed scrutiny, because we are going to be auditing you later. So should we audit you later and we pick up that there were some under entries or undervaluation, under declaration, or any other less declaration that was made during the transaction, during the processing of your transaction, you should be able to be in a position to meet your obligations with SARS. So that then gets tested, hence we do the sufficient financial test. And also you must have financial audited statements. We also understand that for SMME specifically, it is not easy to have those because there are some cost implications that may not necessarily be as easy for them. So we're saying then, but give us some statements that are available or other evidence of financial viability for your company. And most importantly, domestic taxes. Why domestic taxes? This is not a customs program. It is a program that cuts across all tax types. So in SARS, we look at all tax types and we look at your compliance in SARS enterprise. So you cannot then only be compliant in customs and your tax returns are not up to date and expect that you'll be there, because that is non-compliance. So to participate in this program, you must be compliant throughout SARS tax types end to end. Colleagues, these are the benefits for level 1. These are the benefits that made us achieve the 144 accredited traders to date. So, colleagues, as soon as you get the accreditation granted, you have a client relationship manager that gets allocated to you immediately. So when you get a letter from SARS that confirms that your application has been finalized and approved, you are now an accredited trader, there will be a name of a specific person who will be your client relationship manager. This client relationship manager, it's a benefit because this is your center of communication. This is your point of contact. This is your go-to person. In any other query or clarity that you may require from SARS, you will engage this particular person. And you prioritize the TDN and VDNs. Those that have been around, they will also understand that this is a process that could be very lengthy. So what we do, if you are accredited, we put you in front of the queue. So that means your application for a TDN or VDN is processed quicker. We also have reduced security amounts. These securities are the securities that are requested when one makes an application for a deferment account or bonds and so forth. So there's different percentages that are allocated depending on which level your accreditation status is. And in future, we're hoping that we will not have any securities required for the accredited traders just because you complied. We also have reduced inspections. Reduced inspection is one of the greatest benefits that have been applauded by most of the traders. To date, we're sitting at 0.01% stops for those that are accredited. And you can imagine that is next to nothing. So it is such a great benefit because it makes your goods arrive quicker at the final destination. Your clients that you're supplying the products that you've brought into the country, they receive that quicker. If you are exporting as well, there is no delay. You make your deadline with your suppliers on the other end, on the other part of the world. We also allow embargo inspections and in the goods that are being imported. What is embargo inspections? Embargo inspections, it's when we come and do the inspections at your respective premises. We also have flexible inspections, meaning that you can tell us where would you prefer your inspection to be conducted. And again, this is specially done for the clients that are accredited. We also have expedited processes, meaning that in any application that you may have in Sars, you are not going to be delayed because the moment there is a recognition that you are an accredited trader, then your application jumps the queue. We also used a unique Sars AEO logo as a benefit. Why is this a benefit? Someone will think it's only a logo, but it's not just a logo. This is a globally recognized logo. If you are an SMME or you are a large trader that is still interested in bringing investors into your business, this will make your business very attractive because traders and investors out there globally, they recognize the program. So the moment they see that you are an AEO accredited, then they already know your integrity is fine. They already know that you are a compliant company to deal with. They already know that they can trust you because you have an accreditation status. So which is why I'm inviting all of you to participate in this program, come on board so that you can enjoy these benefits. We also have, we prioritize the documentary and physical inspections, meaning that if you have an inspection that has to be done on that 0.01%, we then prioritize your inspection. We then don't keep you at the back of the queue. You will understand that it depends on the number of bookings that each and every office has on time at any given time. So when you are an accredited trader and you need a booking to be done, again, we prioritize your request and we put it in front of the queue, then you get your inspection quicker than you would have if you went and joined the normal queue from the back. Then one of the greatest benefits is the mutual recognition of the major trading partners. So once you get this accreditation, you are mutually recognized by other trading partners, then all those trading partners would want to do business with you because you are trusted, because you are compliant, because your goods are safe and secured. So they want to do business with you as well, just like how the investors would want to bring business your way. So ladies and gentlemen, that was the AEOC, which is the level 1 of the accreditation. So now we're moving to level 2. And again, I'm going to take you through the criteria in terms of what is the criteria, how do you meet the requirements to be at level 2? One, I think that it's important for me to also emphasize that level 2 is the one that is open to the rest of the value chain. You will recall that I indicated that AEOC was only available for importers and exporters. So that left out the rest of the participants in the value chain or in the movement of goods or trade facilitation. So with safety and security, you need to ensure that your building premises are safe and secured. So we do a physical inspection or virtual inspections for your property to see that when the goods are there, they are safe. So there is no risk for us to release your consignment and say, go and store it at your premises, we'll come and inspect it tomorrow. Then we know that it's in safe premises. Personnel security. Personnel security, we're just assessing what measures do you have in place to ensure that when a person has resigned or has been dismissed in your organization, how do you ensure that that person does not have access to your system? How do you ensure that the information that that particular individual was working with does not disappear when that person leaves. So you have it secured as well in your organization. So you just need to show it to us. We're not prescribing to you what do you need to have in place, as long as you are giving us evidence that there is safety and security that is in place to ensure that a person's access card, if it's a place where a person was accessing the premises with an access card, has been removed, the keys, if it's the keys that the person used to hold, and so forth. So you will have to prove it to us. Business partner security, as I've indicated, in security, in safety and security AEO level, we're not only looking at your compliance or your safety and security, we also do a test for the rest of the people that do business with you. So we encourage you to do business with the companies that have that integrity, companies that have compliance, companies that have that are taking safety and security as serious as your company does. So you must ensure that your business partners also meet the safety and security requirements. For cargo security, again, we need to ensure that if you are an exporter, your cargo is exported in a safe and secured way. And if you're an importer as well, you ensure that people that you're doing business with from other countries also are applying these safe and secured measures in ensuring that as the goods are coming through to the country, they are safe and secured, because we do not want to find foreign elements in your consignment that you were not even aware of. Then crisis management and incident recovery is also critical for this particular level, because we understand that there could be floods, there could be fire, there could be a whole lot of or other destructions that could destroy the documents, that would destroy the cargo and so forth, the records that you may have kept as an applicant. So what measures do you have in place? What is your crisis management plan or incident recovery plan that you can share with us, so that we can do that pressure test and see that can we actually trust that our goods, our documents, our information is safe and secured in your company. Then we also check whether you provide education, training, and threat awareness sessions for your staff, just to ensure that at least everybody is aware of those international supply chains, terrorism, and so forth, and all these global activities that will impact on your business. So we want to check as well, do you do that? If you do, how often? And you can share with us then how effective is that. Information exchange and confidentiality is also key, because we do not want you to share information that is confidential, information that is sensitive from other clients that you may share, as we've indicated. Because this involves the whole value chain, you will definitely then be dealing with a whole lot of other stakeholders or business partners that you work with. Do you secure their information? So if they cancel the contract that they may have with you and they want to go work with another company, is that information still safe? Is that information not going to be found wanting or lying around somewhere just because you're no longer doing business with that company? What measures do you have in place to ensure that? And also consultation and cooperation, we also check what are your means of communication on customs matters in SARS. So how have you been doing that, and what is the status to date? We also invite everybody to ensure that there's good corporate governance. We all adhere to the King report, and we then advise as well and guide everyone to ensure that please also follow those guidelines to ensure that your governance is also correctly managed. Then the benefits, which are additional benefits to the AEOC. So these are level 2 benefits. Level 2 benefits are over and above level 1 benefits. So you will recognize that now we're talking exemptions. So that's a language that we didn't talk about when we're speaking about level 1 benefits. So now you start getting exemptions on the specified customs supervision. Those who are doing business with us already, they will know that if there is a request for a special attendance, for example, there is a fee that you need to pay. But if you are accredited, then you are exempted. And again, that is savings. Then there is provision of targeted training sessions. In SARS, we have a new division or a newly developed division called Trader and Taxpayer Education. And this is one of those divisions also that is there to support us in ensuring that they provide clarity in line with strategic objective 1, and also they ensure that they make it easy for the taxpayers to comply as part of strategic objective number 2. So this division will then conduct a training in any of the tax types in SARS if you are challenged somehow. Then they will do that, but it must be noted that they will not only do this training for 1 or 2 people. There's a specific number that needs to be, that needs to form a class for that activity or the training to take place. There will also be fewer documentary and physical inspections for compliance and supply chain security. And again, this is one of those benefits where we say, we don't want to be coming to your office all the time. We trust you and we believe that you are compliant and you will maintain this compliance status. So we will only do the maintenance audit along the way just to check if are you still compliant. But being in this program, you are already trusted. And trust is one of the SARS values, and it is a base for this program as well. We also prioritizing applications for special and extra attendance. Again, when you're asking for those inspections, then we put you in front of the queue. We also provide trade statistics on quarterly basis. We often get requests as SARS for companies that would like to get trade statistics on different elements. So if you are an accredited trader, we will provide those statistics to you on quarterly basis. You just need to tell us which elements would you like to see. However, it must be clear that the information that we will provide to you, it is only information pertaining to your company specifically, or any other information that we open to share with public, because we will not disclose information that is linked to any other business or any other company. Then also the exemption from security payments. I think I've touched on that as well earlier to say, when you are making application for, you require a bond, your application for deferments and so forth, and you're required to provide security, then you get exempted also on those particular activities. No charges have been imposed as well for special attendance, literally none if you are accredited. Then also we can extend the validity of your license. If there is a stakeholder that is delayed in renewing a license, then you are eligible to get an extension because you're an accredited client. Then we also now working on the recognition of the government agencies. And I'd like to pause on this one. This specific benefit was influenced by the feedback that you've been providing us on the surveys that we've conducted. This feedback was telling us that this is a beautiful program. It's such a fantastic program to have. We are very delighted to have the AEO program. However, other government agencies at the port of entry do not recognize it and do not provide the benefits like SARS does. So it does not help us if you facilitate us faster, but we got delayed because one of the government agencies still wants to stop our consignment, do the inspection and so forth. Remember, they have their own legislation that they're also using and they have to do what they need to do. What we're engaging on is to see how do we meet halfway? How do we find ways of working together, collaborating, and ensuring that we do not then intervene where it is not necessary? Is there a way? And because we've also realized that some of these government agencies, they also have some similar programs in place. Like they have compliance programs, some of them have risk-related programs. So how do we collaborate to ensure that you get the recognition from each and every government agency that you interact with? I must also say that we've made strides and we are highly in advance with CBRTA as a government agency on that. And we have also made strides with NRCS. With the other government agencies, we are still engaging as well in that regard. But I must say, to date, we haven't received any pushback from any. Actually, they're all excited because we all have the ultimate goal of efficient and effective trade facilitation. We then also brought in the expediting of refund and drawback applications. So when you submit your drawback or your refund application, we also put it in front of the queue, and you will know what impact would it make if your refund is not refunded on time because it had to join at the back of the queue. So we then put it in front of the queue because you are accredited, so we prioritize. Then we also reduce the number of compliance audits that you may have on annual basis or every second year. So then the frequency gets reduced because you are now accredited. The biggest benefit of this program is the mutual recognition agreement or the mutual recognition arrangement. What is this? The mutual recognition arrangement or mutual recognition agreement, it's when then as an accredited trader in South Africa, you get recognition from the other customs administrations as who are also in the same program out there in the world. We've got over 140 countries that are involved in this program through WCO that have implemented this. And I'm sure that some of them you may be interested in doing business with if you're not already doing. And to date, we have signed a mutual recognition arrangement with the China Customs Administration. And I'm glad then to say, if you are accredited in South Africa, then you will get these benefits in China if you are doing business with China. And also if your suppliers in China have the accreditation status in China, they will get the recognition when they come to South Africa. At this stage, we are still engaging with China in operationalizing this arrangement or this agreement that we have already. So this is one of the best news that we've had, and China was the first country that we've signed with. We have up to, I think, 15 countries that we're currently engaging, and we have progressed with some, and some it's moving slightly slow, but we have confidence that we will have arrangements signed off with all of them eventually. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I've indicated that we have 144 AEOCs to date and have 1 AEOS. And we only have one because this one stemmed from the pilot that we did, which was specifically done through the motor industry. So then the pilot was finalized and the legislation was only finalized also on the 23rd of July, 2021. Hence, so far we only have one. And again, we are excited that there is a lot of interest in this coming from the rest of the value chain who've been standing on the touchline asking, when is our 10 coming through? So now your 10 is here. So colleagues, the interagency AEO program, this is a program that we're working with other government agencies to ensure that we have an AEO program that is collaborative between the two administrations, so between the two government agencies. So we're saying that as government in South Africa, as government agencies within South Africa, how do we then collaborate? How do we ensure that we smoothly facilitate these goods without compromising any of our legislation? We need to find ways of working together and ensuring that we implement these programs in such a success and we ensure that there's compliance. So meaning that if we have a relationship or we have signed an agreement with one of the government agencies, then you will have to comply with both government agencies for you to also be getting the recognition that you deserve. And this would be a greatest win once we get it off the ground and it gets implemented as it should. We have we are participating actively on the regional AEO. We have designed the regional AEO for SACU as South Africa because we are requested to do so. And as such, that was finalized. However, then we requested experts, which were appointed by SACU to have a look at that regional AEO program, to look at the design, criticize it if there's any critique that they could make, and also guide where there's guidance required. So I'm happy also to say that that exercise was done jointly with private sector and with government. And we had to ensure that we include all three pillars of the SAFE framework, being customs to customs, because it's ourselves as customs with other customs administrations in SACU. Then it's customs to business because we work with private sector, and also government customs to other government agencies. As I've indicated, that government agencies that are involved in the trade facilitation or in the movement of goods are also key to the success of this program. So as indicated, that we have at least 15 countries that we are currently engaging on mutual recognition agreement with only one arrangement that has been concluded. So, colleagues, SMMEs. You've heard on the SONA last week, the president spoke about the SMMEs and he made an emphasis, and I think the whole speech was dominated by SMMEs. And again, this afternoon, we had our minister that was also taking us to the budget speech. And again, he also made mention of the importance of the role that SMMEs are playing in the country. SMMEs are a lifeline of South African economy. I'm sure you all agree to that, because they contribute significantly to the GDP and the job creation of this country. Therefore, what role can we play? How can we participate? How can we support them to ensure that they succeed? And I think this is a plea for all South Africans to say, let us find ways of creating jobs. So if SMMEs are raising their hands and saying, we would like to create jobs, we would like to add value into the economy of the country, it is our responsibility to ensure that we support them. We also ensure that they progress and succeed in what they do. The National Development Plan has indicated that by 2030, SMMEs will contribute 60 to 80% of the GDP. And that cannot be done without assistance. They need our support. They need all hands on deck, and they need us to hold hands and make sure that they succeed in doing that. And it is important that Sars then supports these SMME through various programs, such as the AEO program. As I've indicated, that SMMEs are a lifetime of the South African economy. Their contribution to the GDP is significant and may not go unnoticed. So we appreciate you, and we are also saying we are here to support you and assist you in ensuring that you succeed in the work that you do, in creating the jobs in your respective space, and in ensuring that you export as easy as you would want it to be. So it should be easy to do business with SARS. And for SMMEs, we are then simplifying the programs that are already existing. I've shared with you level 1 and level 2, and those are the existing programs. So we are now moving to SMMEs, where we say, let us not compromise the legislation, let us not compromise the program, but let us simplify it to ensure that SMMEs are accommodated. So in doing that, we thought we'll look at this approach to say, we'll look at business growth, we look at trade facilitation, and we look at how then do we eliminate the barriers to enter into this program. And we also did a survey. We wanted to establish this to assess and do the dipstick to say, we don't want to develop for SMMEs, but you want to develop with SMMEs in line with our strategic objective number 8. So in doing so, we had then had created an SMME forum, which sits at least every 6 months. And in this forum, that is when we're building this AEO program for SMMEs. We want to hear from you. What are your views? How would you like to influence this program going forward? So with that then being said, since the last 2 forums that we have set, we've came up with these proposed benefits for SMMEs. This is not the only benefits that SMMEs could have. This, again, it is proposals. It is not yet finalized. There are still internal consultations in SARS that are looking into this to check how then do we concretize this, how do we formalize this, how do we confirm it, and where there are challenges and issues, then we will communicate accordingly. But these benefits were not necessarily coming from SARS, as much as they are in line with also some of the benefits that are shared with the WCO as a guide to say this is what countries may look at as benefits for different segments. So for SMMEs, these were the proposed benefits that came through to say that we would like to have capacity building benefits. Can you educate us? How can SARS help us? Because we are new in this business. There's so much activities that are happening. Legislation changes every day, but we're not abreast with what is happening. Can SARS assist? So again, this is something that we've placed on the lap of the division called Taxpayer and Trader Education to say, how can we assist the SMMEs? And also, most importantly, in SARS, we have another division as well, which is called Small Medium Enterprise Division. This division is also key because they're ensuring that SMMEs are not left behind. They keep us on our toes. They are basically our watchdogs saying, you can't design that because it is not accommodative to SMMEs. So we work very close with that division internally and the other government agencies that are specifically focusing on SMMEs. Then they also requested to say, can you also have expedited refund claims? If this goes through, this will be a great benefit for SMMEs because for SMME, a delay in refund has a major impact on the business itself. It sometimes have an impact on the salaries that needs to go to the people that works for that SMME. So it is important that your refund claim is expedited and you get your refund as quick as you possibly can. So again, That's a benefit that is proposed by the SMMEs themselves to SARS to say, SARS, please consider this. They've requested also to expedite the physical and documentary inspections. Again, they're saying if our goods are stopped at the port of entry, it costs us more, and we are SMMEs, and the cost of demurrage and storage is the same whether you are SMME or you are a large trader. And for us as SMME, we cannot really afford to do these things. Please consider that we get also expedited physical and documentary inspections so that we can move our goods faster. And also because they are SMMEs, they are new, they are small, they have a new business coming in on a daily basis, then they want to ensure that they meet their deadlines and they adhere to their obligations to the investors that may have been interested in doing business with them. And again, they requested to have a percentage of security reduction fees to say the security fees, they tend to be very heavy on them. And they're asking that SARS can consider to reduce those with a percentage. And again, also have a reduction on embargo fees, because if you make an application to get an embargo as an ordinary trader, then there is a fee that is attached to it. They're asking if can SARS consider to reduce that or do away with it if possible. So these are the benefits that are proposed by SMMEs. And SMMEs have also requested that can they also use the AEO logo? And AEO logo will support their businesses in a big way, because then it will attract investors. So how can SARS then overlook that? Let us consider having that AEO logo as a benefit for SMMEs that are accredited. So all we're asking is SARS to the SMMEs, please comply, then we are considering this. So like I said, these are proposed benefits. There are internal consultations that are taking place as we speak. So once they are finalized, they will be legislated just like the ones on level 1 and level 2. And I must say that these benefits have a cash flow benefit on its nature. So if you want a cash flow benefit, please be compliant and join this program. So what is the process that one needs to follow if they are interested in joining this program? This is a process that you must follow. You first have to complete a form called a DA-185. You will find it available under registrations on the SARS website. Once you submit that application, you complete it and you submit it. Then you submit also a questionnaire, which is a self-assessment questionnaire that you will have to complete and submit it to SARS as well. And so we know who are we dealing with, and it has just quite a number of questions that allow us to have an overview of who you are. We are currently in a process of shortening the questionnaire, because we've realized that there's a number of questionnaires that as a trader, you may have completed, which ask for the similar information. Some of the information that is in the questionnaire, we've also realized that it's information that is available at our disposal, so we will be intending to remove that. And this is part of modernizing and simplifying our processes. We also then do audit or validation, depending on what application did you submit. Then we take the outcome of that and we add the competency assessment, as I've indicated, that at least you must have 2 people that are competent within your organization in terms of the SARS legislation or the SARS tax types. Thereafter, there is a committee, which is called Accreditation Review Committee. This is a high-level committee of which the chairperson of the committee is appointed by the commissioner himself. The members of the committee are the heads of different divisions in SARS, who sits then and listen to the presentation of your application and then make a decision of whether to confer your application or not. And applications are never rejected. However, you may be requested to have a compliance improvement plan, or you may be requested to submit additional information towards your application so that it can meet the required standard. But we do not necessarily reject applications, because we believe the reason why you made an application, it's because you are interested, and it's because you also believe that you are compliant, and we are encouraging compliance. We want you to continue to comply, and should you be struggling to do that, we are also available to assist you. So how long is this accreditation status valid? The validity of the accreditation status is 5 years. So once you get accreditation status today, it will only lapse 5 years from today. Then when does it lapse? It only lapses when your license is suspended or cancelled, or it lapses when you are no longer interested in the program. However, you can still then do a renewal, and I'll explain that to you also later. Then this lapsing is actually making reference to when you don't want to be in the program anymore for various reasons. Sometimes the company closed down and so forth. Sometimes it's a license, or it's been suspended or cancelled for whatever the reason it may be. Then your status of accreditation also lapses because it is linked to your compliance, but it is valid for 5 years. How then do you renew once that 5 years has lapsed or it came to an end? A month or two before the end of your status period, then you need to then apply for a renewal. Then we will do a maintenance audit again to check whether you are still compliant, which is a dipstick really, to just check whether you are compliant. And then all provisions of that are also applicable on section 64E, number 5, for the renewal of accreditation client status. Then secondly, the commissioner can also extend the validity period of your status renewal application as finalized before the expiry date. If finalized before the expiry, if not finalized, sorry. So if it's not finalized before the expiry date, the commissioner can still extend it, because sometimes there is delay. And I'll tell you that when we had COVID-19 landing upon ourselves, we did not know what to do. We did not think of it. It was never considered. So those are the kind of circumstances where commissioner can then say, okay, we are now on COVID-19, country is on lockdown, we can't proceed with this. This application is lapsed, can we extend it? Then the commissioner extend it for whatever the period that it may be, depending on what the issue that you may be dealing with. And I hope that this presentation that I've done for you today was as informative as intended it to be. And again, I invite each and every one of you to participate actively on the surveys that SARS usually sends out for your inputs, because we take your input seriously and we consider them as we construct and as we build these kind of programs. And I thank you for your attention. Back to you, Program Director.
Thank you, Mrs. Bologho, for that detailed presentation on the AEO program, its criteria, and as well as the phenomenal benefits that are attached to it. And most importantly, all of those facets will be reviewed in consultation with our traders and tailored to fit the specific needs of SMMEs. Based on that, I would like to challenge our viewers today to find a better rewards program, one that saves you money whilst boosting your business both locally and internationally, and it keeps you legally compliant. I'm confident that there's none. But before we move on with the program, the technical team has advised me that some of you have been experiencing challenges with the mailbox questions at sars.gov.za. If that is the case, I would like to ask you to please make use of the chat box as well as the question and answer tab for any questions that need answering immediately. For any other questions, you are then directed to the Authorized Economic Operator at sars.gov.za mailbox, and the details of that have been placed on the chat group. So with that, I'd like to move on to the much anticipated question and answer session that will be facilitated by Mr. Gumani Mugeri, the Senior Manager at the SARS Institute of Learning. And with that, it's over to you, Mr. Mugeri, and your team of panelists. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Program Director. And thank you very much to Penny, who have taken us through a comprehensive and detailed presentation with regards to the journey and the milestones that are involved in the process to becoming an AEO client. She has taken us through explaining to us what is an AEO, who can participate, what is the process for one to be part of the AEO program, what processes are involved, and what initiatives do we do internally as a mechanism of hand-holding you and ensure that you achieve your compliance journey and enjoy the benefits. And further to that, she shared with us what are the benefits for participating in the AEO program. She also shared with us our intentions in terms of next steps, the package of what we intend to offer to the SMME as benefits for participating in the AEO. We also need to maybe re-emphasize the fact that the AEO program is a global program that ensures that you become a global trader or a global taxpayer who enjoys the benefits not only domestically within South Africa, but to all members who recognize and participate in the AEO program. And that alone, it means as our head, our director, Croatia has indicated in the opening that our passion is to impact on compliance and enhance economic growth. And economic growth, obviously, it is achieved through the simplification process that Penny has actually given to us. I will not dwell much on what the presentation had to offer, and I will go straight to the question and answers. I will invite here our panel of experts who will show their screens. Patience Radebe, you can take the floor. Patience will take us through some of the compliance journey requirements if you want to be a compliant taxpayer. We also have Harry Green. Harry Green is a client relationship manager who is also associated with our AEO program. We've got amongst us Patricia Jones. Patricia Jones is our resident expert within the product and process, customs product and process, or anything policy related and process related within the customs and excise space. We are also joined by Katleho. Katleho is our resident expert within the licensing and registration. She will take us through the process on how to become a licensed and registered trader within customs. We will invite further colleagues who are not, I will not call onto the screen for now. We've got Pelisa, she will join us. I will call on her. But for now, I would like us to go straight into the Q&A. The first question, and I suggest that we start with the first things first. The first question I will ask Katleho to actually respond to this. And this is just, Katleho, can you just take us and the traders through the process on how can one find themselves as a recognized license holder within customs and excise, be it they want to become a clearing agent, a transporter, importer, you know, a warehouse operator. Any of those, if you can just give a quick background so that our traders do have an appreciation of the journey that needs this, where they need to start.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Our licensing registration team is the first point of contact with excise and customs clients for clients who engage in trading with other countries around the world. Our mandate is taken from the Customs and Excise Act 91 of 1964 under Section 59A and 16. We have different types of client types under registration, which is registration and licensing. And licensing is when we license and issue a license to a trader who has been approved by customs and excise to become a recognized trader under the Customs and Excise Act. Currently, recently in April 2020, we have launched the RLA system, digital system or platform that all customs traders are able to apply for all client types as prescribed by the current Act of 1964. The applications forms and the requirements can be accessed on customs website under Customs and Excise webpage under licensing and registration. And we also have an email that is dedicated for other queries, and also our BFEs, which is our partners in the value chain, are able to assist the client further if they have to go and apply for face-to-face or in them who are not privileged enough to have access to the website or internet. The RLA you can apply while you are seated in your comfort of your own office or your home. And the communication thereof is instant communication. We have instant communication, the letters, the approval letters, and should be any other rejections for whatever reason, you will get the letter immediately. The licensing registration also, remember with the launching of 2020 RLA, we were concentrating mainly on new traders, the new traders that are registering with Customs and Excise. We are now embarking on the onboarding of the existing customs client. By existing clients, we mean the clients that were registered on legacy systems. And now we are now onboarding them onto RLA. And this process will be done in phases. The organization will soon issue the letter or the formal communication informing the clients on the process of onboarding. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Katleo. We do have a query from Ken Wolmer, and I suggest that whilst you are still on the floor, you assist Ken Wolmer. And the question is to say, what is SARS plan to speed up the process for getting applications finalized and approved?
Indeed, thanks for the question, as the moderator. Indeed, as SARS is a self-correcting organization, we have identified that for many years, the turnaround times in a licensing and registration space has been a huge challenge because of most of the activities or majority of activities need a human or is a manual intervention within the value chain. And it is not easy, and it was not easy to manage these processes. Hence, in the April 2020, we launched the digital platform called RLA. This is in line with SARS objective number 6, which we are saying we are modernizing our system to provide digital and streamlined online services. And this will make it easier for clients to comply as per our strategic objective number 2. But we have to know that this RLA system, it's only currently covering customs trade client types. Excise is being developed and will be the information regarding the development of Excise digital platform will be communicated as the year proceeds. But one of the benefits of this RLA is that since the implementation, we have seen the reduced or improved turnaround times in terms of finalizing the application. Yes, we acknowledge that we still need to improve, but as one of our main benefits, we are seeing a better turnaround time with the launch of RLA. I thank you.
Thank you, Katleho, for sharing with us the exciting news in terms of the modernization and digitization initiatives which are currently happening. And I will proceed to Harry. Harry, we've got a question also is coming from Anonymous. Anonymous is saying, what is the application process? Are there specific documents that a company should submit that should accompany the application when one wants to become an AEO participant?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, and good evening to our stakeholders online. The application process for applying to be an accredited client starts basically with the DA 186, which is an application form for accreditation status. And is also accompanied by the self-evaluation questionnaire, as well as a systems questionnaire. Those application forms, the self-evaluation questionnaire, requires you to give us a brief history of the company's activities with customs for the preceding 3 years prior application. The systems questionnaire requires the client to tell us more about what are their activities that they follow when they import or export or when they receive goods in South Africa. So those forms give us the information when it comes to the validation or the audit process. Thereby, it makes the processing of those applications easier for the client to go through the validation process. And subsequently to that, then when the audit is satisfied that everything has been completed correctly and the client has complied with all the processes that they need to follow through during the application phase, then it makes easier for the client to go through the accreditation accreditation review committee for the awarding of the accreditation status. So, Chair, those 3 forms are the main forms that we consider. Those forms may be accompanied by other information that will be very specific in those forms in terms of the compliance history, as well as the processes that companies follow when they do importing and exporting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Harry. We do have quite a few questions that are coming, and we appreciate those who are dropping questions on the chat box. We intend to try and attend to all your questions. And the next question, I will ask Patricia Jones to answer the question. The trader is asking whether the deposits that they need to pay if they need to facilitate embargoes for inspections.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening to all our stakeholders. One of the key benefits in the accreditation program is that in level 1 and 2, that these embargo fees are waived. So there's not a requirement that these fees are paid if you are part of the accreditation program. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you very much. I also welcome Pelisa. Pelisa, you can also come to the floor so that our traders can see you. Pelisa is a senior manager within the accreditation program. Thank you, Pelisa. We will take our next question, and this one is coming from Chris Govinsamy. Chris's question is as follows. He's saying on the registration and the initial audit that are conducted, if there are any audit findings indicating non-compliance, will traders or taxpayers be penalized for this? Or is there some sort of amnesty against the penalties? This is in relation to a situation where they come, they say we want to participate, we do the hand-holding. In the process, obviously, of the hand-holding, we'll be assisting them with the steps in terms of improving compliance and so on. We establish findings for non-compliance. Are they waived? Is there amnesty? How do we go about it?
Thank you so much, moderator, and good afternoon or evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for that question, Chris. It's a very important question. So when Mrs. Bologho was conducting a presentation, she took us through the SARS compliance philosophy. So the program is designed as per that philosophy. If you are a trader or any economic operator within the supply chain, that would like to participate in the program. You are saying to us, SARS, I am willing and ready to comply. Therefore, you are volunteering your services and your time and your systems as well as your procedures with us. So that means the approach that we take is that of trust between SARS as well as the economic operator, is the process of collaboration. So the approach that we take, therefore, is we go through the process of a compliance improvement program or a compliance improvement plan. And in that improvement plan, the key things will be to say, if there is some level of compliance, we will then assist you in improving that compliance, and then we'll come back perhaps after 3 months or whatever period we've agreed upon. But the main focus will be to assist you in correcting that particular behavior. If there are vouchers of correction that are required, then you will be requested to amend your processes via the vouchers of correction. If we want to test, or if we see that maybe you don't have standard operating procedures that talk to how to classify your goods, we will then also advise you. So our approach is quite different. Where we come in then, as per our compliance philosophy, is if those traders that do not want to comply. However, when it comes to the AEO program, our approach is to say, make sure that you correct your way via the compliance improvement program. So that is where we stand with that. Thanks.
Thank you, Pelisa. We have got a few questions. Some of the questions are saying, will this presentation be available on the internet? And what I can confirm to our traders is that the recording will be made available on SARS TV on the YouTube channel. You go and look for SARS TV. You can use the keyword to search as a approved economic operator, and then it will give you a number of recorded YouTube videos, and you will select the appropriate one, which is this one. Therefore, it will be made available, and the presentation will also be published. The next question, it has to do with the 3 years timeline as part of the criteria. So the question is this not a barrier? I think it is similarly related to the question that you have dealt with, Pelisa. If you can just take care of this question to say, is the 3 years not a barrier? And in dealing with that, after that, we will also deal with a question that comes from Nwabisa. Nwabisa is asking a question to say, is the requirement for audited financial statements aligned to the Companies Act? Should the requirement be aligned to the Companies Act requirement for financial periods? For the financial records. We will respond to that question immediately after you answer the 3-year question.
Okay, thank you so much. I don't know whether the question was coming from Nwabisa, but currently the 3-year period is applicable to level 1 accredited traders, or the potential traders that are undergoing the process of level 1 accreditation. And if I may just explain to the viewers what is this 3-year period? It's a period that we use to test or to validate some of your systems. So we're saying we would like you to be operational for a period of 3 years. However, when it comes to the small, micro, medium enterprises, that particular sector, we have seen that there might be a need to reduce that period, because we need to ensure that our risk management approach meets the capacity or the enablement of the SMMEs, if I can put it that way. So what we have been doing, because what we're doing is we're working with and through stakeholders. So we've got a consultative forum that looks at the SMME process and the building of the program for that particular sector. And one of the key things that we're discussing is in relation to the period for SMMEs, where we said perhaps there we can require a minimum of a 1-year period, so that we can sort of validate and assist the client to just test their risk management capabilities, so that when they are going through the process with SARS for an AEO, specifically for the SMME sector, then it will be easier. But for level 1, we do require the 3-year period. However, for SMMEs, we have, I think we have agreed with the consultative forum that indeed we will reduce that period to 1 year. So you are aligned with our thinking. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much for providing that clarity. We are joined here by Patience Radebe, as I've indicated that Patience comes from a tax side of business, and Patience will take us through a process in terms of if you want to participate in the compliance journey as a taxpayer, be it as an individual, sole entity, a company, or any form of enterprise. What are the steps and approaches that you may need to consider in order for you to start and undertake your voluntary compliance journey? Patience, can you take the traders through that process?
Good evening to the traders and travelers. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Let's start with the compliance journey. Okay, the compliance journey consists of 5 pillars, which is registration, declaration, filing, payment, and deregistering. With the registration, you need to register for all tax types that you are eligible to register. Like if you are trading as an individual, you will register for income tax. You will either visit our branch or you can register through Mobi app. If you are trading as a company, you can register. As you register at CIPC, our systems are linked. You get the income tax number there. And then you don't only end with income tax. We have VAT, we have pay-as-you-earn, for example. VAT traders that above $1 million, it becomes compulsory. And those that are below $1 million, it's voluntary. Pay-as-you-earn, if you have any employees, and as you as a director, you are supposed to pay over pay-as-you-earn at Sars, this is the type of tax that you register for and make sure that you are compliant. Then we will go to filing of returns. We file our returns as per the due dates, different due dates. For VAT, it can be monthly, bi-monthly, in different intervals. For pay-as-you-earn, it's monthly, and for income tax is annually, except for the provisional tax that you have to submit biannually. And then on the declaration, you need to make sure you don't under-declare. You declare the correct amount. No over-declaration, no under-declaration. Payment. We urge our taxpayers to pay on the correct due dates. And once you are no longer trading, you need to make sure you deregister the company and don't just abandon the company, leave it there on our systems. Lastly, what I will say, if you remain compliant, you will avoid penalties and interest. Doing it on time will save you time. Thank you, Mr. Moderator, and thank you to the taxpayers.
Thank you very much, Patience. We thought that it's important that we re-emphasize the compliance journey in order for you to find yourself on the right side and participate fully in the fiscals and in contributing in building this country. We will give our next question to Harry. The question is coming from anonymous, unfortunately, so we can't identify you, but the question is with regards to our collaboration, and I think Penny did hint on that, with other government agencies. So the question is specifically focusing on the SAPS. It says SAPS stops accosting companies. They do not arrive with the documents and exempts cannot be done. Does SAPS take AEO status into consideration? This question also was supplemented by a follow-up question which says, will SAPS border control be part of the AEO as their detentions adds to huge additional costs on importers' shipments? So in line with the practices within the AEO, will you clarify the trader in terms of what is our position on this matter and the initiatives that we have already taken to address this issue?
Thanks, moderator, and good evening once more to our stakeholders. As the AEO program is, as Penny indicated from her presentation, that is coming from the World Customs Organization, particularly SAFE. SAFE has 3 pillars in it: customs to customs, which then where AEO is coming from. Customs to customs, where we engage other customs administration to recognize accredited clients from South Africa. Customs to business, which is what AEO is coming from, all right? Then the third one is customs to other agencies. That's where then we then are mandated by the AEO program to ensure that we engage other government stakeholders, not only SAPS, but all the government agencies at the port of entry to ensure that they recognize accredited clients so that there is minimal intervention on them. And that has already been built into our benefits that are part of the program. That talks to coordinated interventions by signing the MOU with the government agencies. And that as well, if you remember last year, March, we also had a single government AEO that we launched, where we called all the government agencies to be part of the single government AEO concept. And we have done strides in making sure that that single government AEO program kicks place. And we have already engaged various government agencies, including SAPS, to make sure that we work towards signing off a memorandum of understanding so that they recognize accredited clients. And by doing that, we ensure that we also fulfill our strategic objective of working through stakeholders to achieve our eco-tax systems. It's also part of the 9 strategic objectives of SARS. And that 9 strategic objective of SARS is also aligned to what the president was saying, that we need to ensure that we lower the cost of doing business in South Africa. So that's how it links in. And we are working hard with the team that is engaging the SEPs, so that we sign that memorandum of understanding in order for the accredited clients to be recognized. And that recognition will cut across all the levels of accreditation. Thank you, moderator.
Thank you very much, Jerry. You have covered it pretty well. And I encourage that to some of the traders who may want us to engage with them beyond this session, you can send us your email address. You can drop your email address here on the chat box, and we will ensure that we reply to you, and then we schedule a one-on-one engagement where we provide more clarity and expatiate on some of the issues which we may not be able to cover here in this session. The next question, also this is coming from an unidentified participant, is questioning SARS on the timelines process of AEO requests. It says, will SARS commit to set timelines to process AEO requests? And they say in their experience, SARS takes several months to consider these applications, and applicants often do not know how to get closure and get very little, if any, feedback when asked for feedback. In previous versions of accreditation, including preferred trader, SARS promised phenomenal benefits. However, these benefits were severely diluted, and some participants have in fact been hampered due to signing stringent agreements. How will AEO be different? Pelisa will take care of this question. It's with regards to the timelines that we take to recognize and process the applications. You have touched on it a bit, but you can at least make a little bit more of emphasis to clarify what may not have been clear. And maybe you may not need to re-emphasize on benefits since they've already been highlighted, but see how you can best clarify our colleague.
Thanks. Thank you, Anonymous. A very good question, which is very honest, and we really appreciate that. So you are correct. When we started the process of piloting the preferred trader, the process did take longer because perhaps we have learned that our piloting process or our approach, whereby we looked at all of the industries at the same time, it did not perhaps do us any service. So what we have done ever since then, when we started piloting the authorized economic operator safety and security, we segmented or we were very objective in terms of saying, who are we going to pilot with and what would be the reason for that? So that in its own made us ensure that, we streamline the processes of the application process. Now, when we're referring to the application process, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a matter of a client submitting an application and then waiting for SARS. No, it's a collaborative process whereby the client goes through a process with SARS and we assist each other in ensuring that all of the criteria that talks to compliance, safety, and security is met by the client. So it's an ongoing process. And as SARS, we are also signatories to the World Trade Organization. So there again, we've got key, I would say, requirements where we say we promise to do certain things this way. And the trade facilitation agreement is very key in terms, or it's very clear in terms of the timelines that it expects us to complete a process of ensuring that we give the status. So the application is not done separately by the client alone, but it's done with SARS. So if we have gone through the initial validation and we saw that indeed there are some things that the client can improve upon, we will give you time and then we'll come back, we will review. So once that process is done, then the next stages will ensure that we take it to the next governance committee, which is referred to as the Accreditation Committee. Then they would make a decision whether the application goes through or not. And if not, we then go back to the client again, we help each other. So there are many variables that contribute to the time frame, but we do intend to finalize the applications by at least 3 months where it is possible. But then again, remember, it's dependent on a case by case. If the client you see, and I've seen a chat that says you must be compliant for 3 years before application. No, you mustn't be, but you must be operational for 3 years before applying, so that when you apply, we go through that process together. And if we find that indeed there aren't many issues that need to be considered, then that application will go by very quickly. But if maybe there are some things that we see that, you still need to do here, you still need to do this and that. And the reason why we need to make sure that happens is because one of the key benefits, as it was said, is that we negotiate mutual recognition agreements or arrangements with other countries. And it is key that as a client, you meet that criteria, but we make it easy for you to do so. But we have learned from the previous pilot, because now in the recent pilot, it took us lesser time and the applications are going through quickly and easily because we are working with the stakeholders in doing so. Thanks. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. The next question we have coming from AC Steenkamp, and he has raised three issues. The first issue is with regards to compliance record. He says, it will seem that from the legislation that the dynamics of clearing agents were not considered. He's saying clearing agents may receive administrative penalties or even cover such on behalf of its clients. This, as a result, will negatively impact on a clearing agent and may result in an application rejection. The number of declarations lodged by a clearing agent in relation to an importer or exporter custom exporters' customer transactions are vastly different. It is believed guidance is required from Sars as well as a separate approval criterion for clearing agents. Can a forum be opened to dialogue on this requirement? So I would like, I had requested that for some of the unique circumstances, do engage us. We have an email, authorized economic operator at sars.gov.za, and ask for indulgence. One of our client relationship managers can engage you and deal with the unique circumstances that you are facing. But we'll try to some extent address your issue before we wrap up. I just want to deal with all the issues that you have raised. The next question is with regard to security reductions. It says the implementation of new rules on July 2021 resulted in all prior level 1 accredited clients, which included the clearing agents, to lose accreditation status. As a result, any application by a clearing agent for any product requiring surety results in a loss of the reduction previously granted for being accredited. These costs are massive, with clearing agents previously accredited reduction based on their previous status. Those are some of the two issues that are coming from AC. Harry, if you can give a bit of insight in some of these issues, but I believe here we also have unique circumstances that we can have to AC also, because there are more issues and further inputs that needs to share with us in terms of what are recognized in facilitating this program. Just on a high level, what message would you like to give AC?
Thanks, moderator, and thanks for that question. It's very important, that question, moderator, because it takes us back to what we used to have as level 1 accredited status, where bulk of the participants on that scheme was clearing agents. And through the risk management approach that is applied by SARS, when clearing agents were applying, they used to get a reduction on the security that they should lodge. However, in the level 1, there were no benefits in the old level 1 accreditation program. There was only rights that clients had. Now it's different to the AEO concept. In the AEO concept, there is then benefits. The benefits, for example, if you look at level 1, there will be a reduction in security lodged. So clearing agents are welcome to apply for level 1. However, if they go to level 2, there will be no security lodged for a customs activity that they register or license with SARS, which give them greater benefit than they used to get in the old level 1 through the risk management process. So level 2 and level 1 still offer any client that is accredited a reduction in their security, and the bonds that the security that clearing agent lodge with SARS for the customs activities, whether it's deferment, those activities will qualify for the reduction in terms of the benefits. So, moderator, that is the situation. If a clearing agent then changes its status or apply for a fresh security, and they are not accredited now, the risk management process might not favor them. It depends on the risk management process that they go through. So in the olden days, they used to get reduction on the basis of the risk management process. However, now through level 1 and level 2, they can get that reduction as a benefit, reduction in terms of level 1 and no lodging of security for level 2, which speaks to higher benefit for them. Thank you, moderator.
Thank you very much, Eri. And I would like to for the experts. I appreciate what the questions that came through the chats. Unfortunately, we don't have the whole day. We don't have the whole evening. We would have loved to have a 4-hour conference and discuss all things to the depth. Our panel of experts is capable to take care of any question. However, I want to emphasize that if you've got e-filing issues, I have noted that there are some of the clients who are having issues with merging some of their e-filing profiles. If they are not addressed, you may forward us an email and then we can see how best we can assist you. Other than that, we appreciate your time and we'll respond to some of your responses on the emails that you have shared with us. Thank you very much. We appreciate, and back to you, Program Director.
Wow, that was indeed a great session. And thank you to Mr. Mugeri and the panelists for the extensive information that you shared today, and to the viewers that posted those robust and pertinent questions. Viewers, today you'll received a torrent of information. So I'm going to try and recap in a very simple way, and hopefully I capture it. The AEO is, number one, the AEO is based on trust. It's one of SARS values, and in that, high levels of integrity will be rewarded with benefits. These benefits will then assist in reducing costs and downtime by facilitating trade. Your company's compliance levels will be measured against certain criteria, and the gaps will be addressed through education and support. Enhancing trade within the SMME arena is at the forefront in SARS, and the AEO is a vital tool in this regard. Therefore, SARS understands the importance of considering the needs of the SMMEs in the development of the AEO. And I trust that this creates a great deal of excitement amongst the traders as well as my colleagues to move this program forward. And looking at the time, we have now come, we're almost at the end of the program. And I'd like to call on Mr. Tamsanqa Mabandla to give us his closing remarks. Mr. Mabandla is a senior manager at SARS, and sorry, excuse me for that. He's a senior manager at SARS. He joined the organization in 2004 and as a stakeholder relationship manager. Throughout his time at SARS, he occupied various roles and functions. His current role includes the facilitation and coordination of taxpayer and trader education. Over to you, Mr. Mabandla.
Thank you, Program Director, and thank you to the traders and everybody who has joined us today. Firstly, I want to thank the organizers of this webinar, and all the panelists and the speakers, and I think you did a sterling job today. And most importantly, to the traders and taxpayers who joined us today. We are delighted about today's session. From the questions, it's very clear that there is a lot of interest on the issues, and the complexity of the process itself requires more conversations. And I think we are very clear about that this is a journey of conversation and of providing clarity and certainty. Of course, from a SARS point of view, we are doing what we are doing today because we want to fulfill one of our key objectives, which is to providing clarity and certainty around our processes and systems. And I think today's sessions has attempted to respond to this call, but we are committed to actually do follow-up sessions on this topic because it's forever evolving with changing dynamics in it. But for that, I want to thank you for spending time with us today. I know today was a budget speech and most of you would have wanted to listen to more analysis of the budget, but we think today we have spent the day very well. And thank you to everybody who has made this occasion successful. Thank you. And back to you, Program Director.
Thank you, Mr. Mabandla. And with that, colleagues, traders, stakeholders, we have come to the end of our session. Once again, I would like to thank everyone who has attended and those that participated. At SARS, we value you, our taxpayers, our traders, and we welcome your inputs, opinions, feedback in order to improve our service to you. Therefore, I encourage you to please participate in the survey that you will receive shortly. And also all inquiries may be forwarded to the Authorized Economic Operator at sars.gov.za mailbox. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you and good evening.
Fellow South Africans, I'm addressing you.
All your years of paying tax, you still wonder, why does it matter?
It is true that we are facing a great emergency.
It matters now more than ever. It matters to those who are exposed to harm to keep us away from it. The ones that leave behind all that they love. Your tax matters to them. Those who spend endless hours standing on their feet to care for others. It matters to those who are always at the heart of any crisis and our future generations. It matters to those who put so much love into giving selflessly to each and every family living on the breadline. It matters to all of us. To all taxpayers, pay your fair share. Do it for your nation. Your tax matters.